All right. Good morning, everyone. Morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. How are you? How is everyone? For those, I know we are all on different time zones. So if it's morning, tell me how your morning is. How are you doing? What are you up to? And if you just got into the afternoon like I did, how has your morning been as well? All right. I mean, it's my first time being here with you today. I'd be happy to know who I have on the call. So you can let me know where you're joining from. I see a lot of people. I mean, this is already the trend, yeah? I see Ethiopia, I see Burundi, Kenya, Uganda, Malawi, Sierra Leone. Wow, that's nice. Awesome. Nigeria. There's no one who's from outside Africa. Who is from outside Africa? Can also just let me know in the chat. Some are even using flags. That's nice. Botswana, congratulations on all the gold medals you've been winning in the recent races. Zim, Kenya, my Kenyan people. Oh, wow. All righty, thank you so much. I'm loving the energy in the chat section. South Africans, I see you with your flags flying high. Nice to see you all. Tanzania, habari ya leo. Doreen, I see you. Mohammed is from where? Let me check again. Your comments are moving pretty fast. There's also Cameroon. Mzuri. That's Igawa. Sudan, hi. All right, so thank you so much. Like I said, I love the energy in the chat section. My name is Beryl Okwach. Oh no, someone changed my name. Just hold on, sorry. Just let me fix this, please. What name are you seeing on the screen? I know I changed to my name, but I don't know what name you're seeing. It's telling me I'm seeing a different name on my screen. See me. Brian, I see you. Okay, let me just change my name. My name is not Simi, I'm Beryl. So just give me a second to try and change this. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not sure. Give me a second. Well, it changes when I turn off my camera, but when I turn my camera on, it's still showing Simi. And I'm trying to figure out how to change it back. Change name and tag. Just hold on. Oh yeah, figured it out. Should show my name now. Awesome. So it's now reading Beryl, yeah? A day, you can confirm. Now showing Beryl. Awesome. So like I said, my name is Beryl Okwach. I'll be your trainer for the day. I work with Impactor. I'm happy to be here. Like I said, it's my first time joining their training sessions, but I believe everything has been going on well. Before we even get into today's class, please let me know in the chat section how the training has been so far. I see my namesake. Hi, Beryl. I didn't know it's like a common name also in Cameroon. So just let me know how the training has been so far. We are almost coming to the end of the training. We have a session tomorrow. The last class will be on Monday. There's a gender equality class on Monday. I know it's not in the schedule that was shared with you, but this is just a heads up. It will also be posted in their WhatsApp group for your information. It's been interesting. It's been great, helpful. Do you think all the things that you've learned are things that you're going to apply in your everyday life, assuming you get to start a business? Do you think everything that you've learned has been helpful and insightful? It's been informative. Yes. All right. Insightful and enjoyable. Awesome. I don't want to take so much time doing introductions. I'll just introduce my colleagues who are with me on the call. So I have Christiana on the call and I have Chiamaka on the call. They are my colleagues.
Hello, Berio. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Hi. You've heard Christiana's voice before, yeah? So she's with me on the call. And I also have Chiamaka. Chiamaka, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
All right. So they'll be the moderators for the day. You'll see them a lot in the chat section. Any question you have, feel free to drop in the chat section. They'll be responding to them. And then if there are others that you feel I need to address, you can always drop them in the Q&A section. I'll be taking short breaks in between my presentation to respond to some of the questions. And I'd like for us to be very exhaustive. That means that don't be afraid to ask any questions, right? So just give me a brief to share my screen. Great. So this is what you're going to learn today. I know yesterday you went through business planning. It's not the same, right? And as we go into the details of the class, you're going to see that it's a little bit different. However, seeing that you already attended yesterday's class, so most of the things that you're going to learn today are going to be a little bit relatable, all right? So just let me know if you can see my screen, if my audio is okay, if my video is fine before we get into today's class. Let me know if you can hear me well, if you can see my screen, and if you can also see me before we begin. And then you can drop me emojis, if it's a thumbs up or a smiley face, to let me know you're ready for us to begin. You can also drop me an emoji. I will be able to know that you're okay to start the session and we are all together. Thank you, Aristide. Aristide, is that a Rwandese name? You can see your screen, yeah. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for the love. All right. So basically what we're going to look at today is getting a better understanding of what business growth planning is. It's different from business planning, right? Normally, when you want to start a business, it's when you start creating a business plan, right? Getting to understand how will you get into a new market, what products are you going to have, who are your competitors. But business growth planning, you already have an existing business, but you want to plan ahead. You want to figure out, okay, in the next 1 or 2 years, this is where I see my business, all right? But how do I get there? So you have to have a strategy in place. And basically what we're going to look at today is understanding what a business growth plan is, right? Why do you need it? What are the pillars for a business growth plan? And then when you're curating your own plan, what do you need to include, right? And then what are the major growth strategies that you need to put into consideration when you're coming up with your business growth plan? But before I begin, I'd like to know or get a view of what you think a business growth plan is. So let me know in the chat section, what do you think a business growth plan is? What is your understanding just from the name? What's your understanding of a business growth plan? What is your understanding? So there's no wrong or right answer. I'm not going to mark who said the right thing, who said the wrong thing. Feel free to drop your responses in the chat. What do you understand by a business growth plan? Emily says ability to stay in business. pressures, strategies a business person needs to put in place to grow their business, roadmap of our business. Bakiso says how you see your business grow, forecasting, maintaining the business growth. All right. Trajectory of how you're going to grow the business, plan of your expectation, monitoring. I'm actually reading your comments in the chat. So diversifying your products and services, framework of your business, Obote, the plan to grow and expected future positions of your business. So basically all the responses you've given are more or less correct. I don't know why my screen is not showing. Yeah. So basically a business, I mean, before you even get to this slide, I need to give you a comparison between what a business plan is and a business growth plan is. Like I said, you get to prepare your business plan when you want to start your business, right? You're planning out your business, you're planning out your products, you're planning out your market, you're planning out your financials. But now for a business growth plan, you already have an existing business, but you want to expand the business. All right, so that's the difference between a business plan and a business growth plan. Another thing is a business plan, you would set a plan for like 5 years. All right, so you have a business plan for 5 years, but a business growth plan is usually short term, max 2 years. So it's usually between 12 to 24 months. In 12 to 24 months, where do you see your business? Do you understand? Then after 2 years, you sit down again and figure out, okay, can I restructure this growth plan again for the next 2 years? So that's the difference between a business plan and a business growth plan. Now, when you're looking at creating your own business growth plan, the first thing you need to consider, and this is something you're going to look at as we move along in the class, you're looking at your sales objectives, because at the end of the day, the end goal is to increase your revenue for your business growth plan. That's the end goal. You need to first, before getting to increasing your revenue, you need to understand, what do I want to achieve? So that basically means curating your sales objectives. So you need to figure out, how do I want to increase the sales, all right? And then once I increase my sales, and I want the trajectory to keep increasing, what do I need to do to reduce maybe on expenses? So you're looking at cost reduction strategies. And then obviously when you reduce your expenses and you have more sales, you increase your revenue, then at the end of the day, do I expand from where I am, right? So you're looking at a span time frame of between 3 months to 1 year. Like I said, you can have a business growth plan that goes up to 2 years max, but that's just about it. After 2 years, you need to sit down and revisit your business growth plan again. Are we together? Are we together? Is that a bit clear? Awesome. Okay. Great. Now, for those who have businesses, it's very, I mean, I wouldn't start my business right now, assuming I started my business in January, and then we are in the 9th month. After the 9th month, I'm like, oh, I want to now create my own business growth plan. All right. So you need to give your business, it's not exactly for startups, the business growth plan, all right? Because you need to have, probably if it's breaking even, that's when you need to sit down and figure out, okay, now I need to figure out an expansion plan for my business, all right? So you start small first, then once you've settled as a business is when you start now sitting down and figuring out if you need to expand your business and creating a growth plan for your business. Why is it important to have a business growth plan? The first thing, it helps to increase your market share and penetration. When you're talking about your market share, you're looking at, because you have competitors, all right? You have other businesses that you share your target audience with, but at the end of the day, as a business, you want to increase the percentage of, the percentage of clients you have for your business, all right? So that means figuring a way of increasing the percentage of your clients, all right? So you need to, a reason why you would need to have a growth plan would be to increase the percentage of market share that you have, all right? And then you're going to want to sit down as well and figure out how to increase your market penetration. And this is something we're going to talk about because there's market penetration, market development, product development, and diversification. We are still going to look at that as we move along, all right? But just in summary, one of the reasons why you would need a business growth plan is to increase your market share and penetration. The other one is to recoup early losses. Normally, when you start a business, people normally say that in the first 6 to 1 year, all right, you're still channeling possibly your personal funds into your business. So that means your business is still not sustainable. Now, when you're channeling your personal funds, you're looking at, you probably not have enough in pocket. So you'll probably take loans or, if it's from banks or if it's from friends or wherever you'll get the capital, all right? But after 1 year, you need to sit down and ask yourself, okay, I can't be running this business on loss, all right? So what do I need to do? I need to figure out how to expand my business. I need to figure out how to pay back my debt, all right? So that's also another reason why you would need to have a business growth plan, because you want to recover from losses and debts, all right? Then it's also an investor guide, because at some point you probably want to sit down and figure out, okay, I need an investor for my business because I don't have the funds to cater for this growth plan, all right? But if I go to an investor, then I need to justify, why do I need the funds to grow this business? Do you understand? And you have to put this in place because technically the investor is going to ask, okay, so what's your plan? What's your growth plan? Can I see how you intend to increase your revenue? Can I see how you intend to use the funds that I'm going to give you? So it also acts as an investor guide, then gives you a concrete revenue plan. So there's a roadmap. You're basically creating a roadmap to achieve your sales objectives. All right. It's easy to have something in paper, like to have a strategy in place, and you follow the action plans that you put in place to achieve, the goals that you have in your strategy. All right. So it helps you to have concrete revenue plans and also prevents future risk. Future risk minimization. So in yesterday's class, I know you looked at risk identification, prevention, and mitigation. And I know in last week's class, when you talked about financial contingency planning, you also looked at identifying risks, right? So when you're having a business growth plan, you're basically foreseeing risks and identifying preventive measures for risks. And for the risks that are not preventable, what are the mitigation strategies? All right. So you want to plan ahead to prevent risks that might make your business go under. All right. Or if there are risks that are not preventable, what do I have in place? Do I have liquid funds in case of emergency? All right. Because one of the business goals is to have liquidity. All right. So to have access to funds that you can access to basically help your business in case of an emergency. Does that make sense? Are we together? Are we together? Are we together up to that point? Also, feel free to ask questions. I don't think I've seen any questions so far. Any questions so far. Any question? If there's no question, you can just let me know there's no question. If you have a question, please drop it. Let me check the Q&A section just in case, so that I don't miss any question. I have one question in the Q&A. Any scenario for a business growth plan? I think I've already mentioned this. Chidong, I think I've already mentioned this. No question. Thank you, Aristide. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Peter, Zesco. Guaza, I see, because I'm doing so well. All right. Okay, I guess that's cue for me to move on to the next part of the class, which is basically understanding the pillars of business growth planning. right? So there are things that you need to put into consideration when you're coming up with your business growth plan, right? And these things include, the first thing you need to consider is having a solid foundation. It's just the same way, for example, you want to construct maybe a building. The first thing is having a good, solid foundation, because otherwise, I mean, if you construct your building on a weak foundation, it's not going to last. Do you understand? So this also applies to your business. You want to have a solid foundation for your business, because that would mean also sustainability for your business. Do you understand? The other thing is knowing your market. You need to understand your market. Knowing your market means understanding the market pricing for your products or services. It also means understanding your competitors, being able to know, what are my competitors doing? Is there a gap in regards to the offerings in the market? And can I curate my own unique value proposition or my unique selling point from the gap that's in the market? Knowing your market also means understanding your audience. That means you get to know their preferences, you get to know their interests, you get to know their values. You also get to know who your audience is. Do you understand? Because once you get to understand your audience, then you're able to know the challenges that they are encountering, and you would be able to position your business as a solution to that challenge. Do you get? So it's very, very important as a business to understand your market. The third pillar is business idea validation. You don't just wake up and decide, okay, I think this business would do, this business would work, because that's your idea. No, you need to validate that idea. There's a need for this particular product or service in the market, and that's why I'm coming in with this business. Do you understand? Because you might have a business idea and you think it's good, and you look at the market, but there's saturation of businesses with the same offering. All right. You don't want to just get into a market and do what other businesses are doing. You need to figure out, so what special thing am I offering that's not already in existence? So you need to validate your business idea. The other thing is marketing and sales for growth. What strategies do you have in place for your marketing? What strategies do you have in place to increase your sales? All right. If I maybe I started my business 2 or 3 years ago. The first year I made probably $50,000 in annual profit. All right. The second year, again, I made $50,000 in annual profit. Am I stagnating, or do I want to increase this profit year on year? All right. So you need to figure out, I don't want to operate in, like, you don't want to just have flat revenue year on year. So you need to figure out, next year, I want to increase my revenue, say, by 5%. And this takes us back to when you're creating your SMART objectives. All right. SMART objectives you're looking at. What do we mean by SMART objectives? In fact, I'm not going to mention, because I know this is something that you already went through previously. What do I mean by SMART objectives? What do I mean by SMART objectives? No, I'm not Nigerian, Ernest, I'm Kenyan. What do I mean by SMART objectives? Emmanuel said specific, but that's just the S in SMART. Specific, attainable, specific, measurable, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant or realistic, and time-bound. Exactly. So you need to have SMART objectives for your business, that's one. And then you need to also have online objectives, which are basically fine-tuned from the business goals and objectives that you have. You get? And I'm sure this is something that you've already gone through. Salma, I see your question. Please don't make me laugh. Yes, I'm low. Yeah. So I see the responses, and I see that you've been taking time and taking notes in the previous classes. That's pretty good. All right. That means you basically understand what I'm talking about today. And that was the fourth pillar. The fifth pillar is financial management basics. How do you intend to manage your business finances? This starts with budgeting. All right. You need to first figure out your budget. Write down a budget for your business. What are the expenses? All right. So there are one-off expenses and then there are recurring expenses. These are things that you need to put into consideration when you're doing your budget because it will help in knowing I've made this amount of money. These are my recurrent expenses if it's per month, if it's per year. Recurrent expenses could be things like rent. If you have rented a premise, you're looking at salaries. If you have employees, you're looking at utility bills. Do you understand? And then there's one-off expenses. What would I term as one-off expenses? Maybe business registration. However, I'm sure this is recurrent per year, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? So there are one-off expenses that you would need to pay, and then there are recurrent expenses. So those are the things you need to put into consideration when you're doing your budgeting, all right? Because it will help you to determine how you're going to spend your funds. And then there's bookkeeping. Bookkeeping means every sale that you make, every expense that you make, you're documenting them. So you're tracking how where finances are coming from and where they are going. All right. Then you'll be able to know, okay, this is how much I sold, this is how much I spent, the actual. Now, this is not budget. All right. So this is your actual income and your actual expenditure, right? Then that's where you'll be able to determine your profit, all right? That's once you've already figured how much money am I going to put aside for, is it my savings, for contingency planning, and then what do I term as my profit, right? Then you're also looking at sustainability and scaling. This is another pillar that you need to consider when you're coming up with your business growth plan. At the end of the day, you want your business to be able to run on its own, right? Figure out a situation where maybe you have a business, you've set the business, maybe the business has been in existence for 4 to 5 years, and for some reason, maybe you need to be away from the business. Maybe you've traveled and you're not able to be there hands-on, right? Is the business able to run on its own? Or if I have a manager coming in, are they able to just run the business without needing me to be there? Do you understand? So you're looking at sustainability and scaling. That should also be one of your very important goals that you consider for your business. Are we together? Right? So we're going to look at each of these pillars one by one as we move along. When I talk about building a strong, solid foundation, if I'm very fast, please let me know I'm pretty fast. Sometimes I could get carried away. Yeah, I have a Kenyan accent. I heard people say there's a Kenyan accent. Okay, thanks. Awesome. But my moderators are with me on the call. So I see a lot of questions in the chat section and I see my moderators responding to them. So if you asked a question and I have not read it out or responded to it, just check the comments in the chat. You'll see most of the responses there from either Chiamaka or Christiana. All right. So watch out for their comments because they'll be responding to your questions in the chat. Now we look at these pillars one by one. You're talking about building a solid foundation. When you're building a solid foundation, there are things that determine how you want to run that business. And you're looking at the first thing, your business needs to have a vision and mission. A vision is long term, right? What do you want to achieve for your business? What do you want to achieve for your business? And then mission are usually short, actionable strategies that you've put in place to achieve that vision. Do you understand? So vision is the what you want to achieve, and the mission is the how you want to achieve that vision. So these are things that you need to have in place. The other thing is setting smart objectives and goals. We just talked about smart objectives right now. You need to have objectives that are very specific, all right, simple and specific. You know, I want to increase my target audience. I want to increase my revenue. Like it's simple and straight to the point, very specific. They need to be measurable, right? I should be able to know the progress of or track my progress in achieving this objective, right? So when you talk about measurable, you're looking at, you could say something like, I need to increase my target audience by 5%, all right? I can measure my 5%. So if right now I have, for example, 5,000 followers, and by the end of the year, I want to increase that by, by 10%. That's basically 5,000. 10% of 5,000 is, what is 10% of 5,000? What's 10% of 5,000? 500. So that means by the end of the year, I want to have like 5,500 followers. All right. I can measure in October, I added maybe 50 followers. In November, I added maybe 100 followers. So I'm able to track how far I am with achieving that specific objective. All right. Then they also need to be achievable. I mean, I know you want to grow your business at some point, but do not overshoot yourself. I mean, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. So it needs to be achievable. When you're looking at having an achievable goal, you're looking at basically what is does the supply match the demand in the market? That's one. All right. If I price this product at a particular price, is it affordable? Can my target audience afford this particular product? Is if I price it, if I put a certain price to it. So you're looking at the purchasing power of your audience, right? So there's the purchasing power you're looking at, there's the demand in the market that you're looking at, there's also your supply, all right? Because depending on where you are as a business, it depends on how much product or what quantity you're able to supply into the market. You're also looking at your competitors and you're looking at your market share. So you need to set achievable goals related to your business, and then they need to be realistic. They need to make sense. I cannot have, for example, maybe I am a retailer, right? And I'm selling maybe home goods, and I see maybe one of the businesses who supplies my home goods to me to sell. Sorry, I can't have the same goals as that business because they're already established, they're big, they're wholesalers. So you need to have realistic goals relevant to your business, and then you need to put a time frame to them. So I'll give an example of a SMART objective. I could say, I want to increase my, if I'm a phone shop, right? I'm a phone shop and I'm selling phones, different types of phones. I could be selling Samsungs, I could be selling iPhones, I could be selling Technos, all right? But I need to have, because these are different products, meaning they have different price points, meaning they have different target audiences, all right? So I need to have like objectives. You can break down your objectives up to the products that you're selling. So I could say, I want to increase the sales of my iPhones by 10% by, say, Q1 2026. All right. So you can see it's very specific. It's specific because this goal is specifically related to this product X, which are my iPhones, right? It's measurable. I've put a percentage to the amount of revenue I want to increase. It's achievable because, I mean, looking at the price points of that particular product, right? If I, probably bring in the new iPhone right now, is it iPhone 17 Pro Max or whatever, right? That just came in. So if I bring in this new product, it's going to help me increase my sales. Do you understand? And it's also realistic, and there's a timeline to it. There's a timeline to it because I've said I want to achieve this by Q1 2026. All right. Then you also need to determine your company values. Your company values will determine your company culture, will determine your employees' characters, all right? Will determine your customer, what do I say? Customer service, all right? So you need to have company values. They basically guide your organizational culture. It's very, very important, all right? So that's the first thing you need to consider when you're, we're looking at the pillars, diving into the pillars that, we listed when you want to create your own, when you want to start creating your business growth strategy. The next one is knowing your market. when you want to understand your market, the first thing is looking at market segmentation. You probably talked about this when you went through the first topic that was building your brand in the online market. Who are your primary audience? Who are your secondary audience? Divide them into subgroups. So you could decide to divide them into demographics, right? It's upon you, all right? So you could decide to segment them into demographics. You could decide to segment them into psychographics. That basically means their psychological attributes, things like interest, things like value, things like their attitudes, all right? You could segment them like that, right? It's upon, I mean, segmentation is on your discretion, basically, that's what I'm saying. But you need to segment them into different subgroups. Do you understand? So the first thing is doing your market segmentation. The other one is target market selection. This particular product, this iPhone, I cannot target maybe university students. They could be my secondary audience because they can lobby for their parents to buy for them this particular product. But my primary audience for iPhones are people maybe who are in mid-level management, working class, right? So when I segment my audience, it helps me to know this particular audience. When I'm doing the marketing for this particular audience, I'm targeting these particular people, all right? Technos, I will target this particular audience. So it's easy. You can't want to make sales and you're doing your marketing to the wrong audience. That's why you also need to do your market research. It's very, very important. All right. Because it ensures that I'm not wasting my energy. All right. I'm not wasting my energy on strategies that are not giving me my return on investment. Do you get? Then understanding your market also helps you to curate your unique value proposition. Some people call the unique value proposition the unique selling point. What makes you stand out? What am I offering that is different to my competitors? If I'm a restaurant, for example, we're both making sales. There are different restaurants who sell, the same type of food. But what am I doing better that my competitor is not doing? Maybe I'm also offering deliveries. Maybe I'm accepting takeouts, and for them, they just focus on working clients. They don't do deliveries. So that already makes me stand out. There are people who can order from the comfort of their homes and will offer delivery. All right. So that's just basically an example. I was trying to share an example on how you can create or have your business stand out from your competitors. The third pillar is business idea validation. Are we still together? Are we still together? Yes, we are together. We are following. Awesome. 5/5. All right. Thanks for the rating. Catherine, thank you for the rating. Awesome. All right. So the third pillar is your business idea validation. Like I said, you need to be able to justify why that idea is. Hold on. You need to be able to validate your business idea. So the first thing is carrying out market research. Is there a need for the offering that you're bringing on board? Is there a need for the offering that you're tabling? All right. So do your keen market research. The other thing is establish business hypothesis. That means you also have to do a lot of research. Create scenarios. For example, you want to bring in a new product. Maybe you are in the food and beverage industry, right? You've been selling these fresh juices and whatever. Then you want to maybe bring a new product, maybe hibiscus tea, but you don't know if people would actually like it. So that's why sometimes you'll go to the supermarket and you'll find like small stands. There are people promoting maybe new juice into the market. They do tests for their clients and then they collect feedback. So you need to do your hypothesis. For example, this is just an example, right? You want to to bring in a new product. You have to test with your audience. You have to collect scenarios. And then the scenarios would be based on, you can categorize them on optimistic feedback, pessimistic feedback, and worst case scenario. It will basically help you to, guide you, right, on whether it would be a good idea, for example, to bring in the new product or not. Are people accepting of this new particular product? Or what do I do? I mean, is there a need basically for it? So you need to create scenarios. That means you need to be able to carry out business hypotheses. The other one is addressing your customers' needs. At the end of the day, it's not about what you want as a business. It's the same as when you create your website content or when you're doing your marketing. It's not about what information you want to put out. It's about what information do people want to consume. So you always need to put yourself in your client's shoes to be able to know this is what they are looking for. This is what they want to consume. Because if you share irrelevant information, whether they are in need of your product or service, but you're not communicating to them the way they want to be communicated to, you're not going to make headway. There's no way you're going to make headway. So put yourself in your client's shoes, figure out what is their need, what are they looking for, right? What are they, how do they like to be spoken to? What language do they like to be spoken to? Because the same way I would speak to a 40-year-old client is not the same way I would speak to a 20-year-old client. They seem like small things, but they are very, very important things in terms of customer acquisition and retention. Do you get? The other thing is marketing and sales for growth. So when you're doing your marketing, there are things that you need to consider. There's the applying the marketing mix. The marketing mix is basically a combination of 4 items. You're looking at your product, your pricing, your placement, and your promotion. So those are 4 items that make up the marketing mix. I've said product. What product do you have? What is the pricing of that particular product? The placement, that is in regards to where are you doing your marketing? What platforms are you using for your marketing? And then the promotion, what are your promotion antiques? What are your promotion antiques? Sorry. What are your promotion antiques? So figure that out. Figuring out your marketing mix will help you to come up with the right marketing strategy, basically, right? You talked about your brand identity. Your brand identity is basically how customers perceive your business. How do they perceive your business? There's so many things making up the brand identity. And I know you already talked about this. You're looking at your logo, you're looking at your brand colors, you're looking at your brand designs, you're looking at your brand language. Okay, just give me a second, please. All right, sorry about that. I'll just take a step back and go back to my description of building your brand identity. Talking about what makes up a brand identity. I said your logo, your brand colors, your brand designs, your brand language. Do you have a tagline? Okay. And this is just reiterating what has been said before. I know this has been said before because there was a specific class on building your brand and selling online. The other thing is developing a strong sales strategy. You also went through this when there was a class on digital marketing strategy. There was a workbook that was also shared on digital marketing strategy. So you need to sit down and figure out what strategy am I going to use to increase my sales, and then establish a powerful customer service. Having an efficient and effective customer service will help with customer retention, all right? And when you retain your clients, they're obviously going to talk, they'll give good reviews about your business to their friends on their social media, and this will also help you to acquire new customers. So you need to ensure that you have effective and efficient customer service. If someone comes to your page and drops an inquiry at 8 in the morning, all right, if I look at your profile, you said your business opens from 8 to 6 a.m. Someone comes to your page and they drop a comment at 8 in the morning. You respond the next day. Maybe they wanted to buy in that moment. So small things like that. First of all, when you're creating your, and I know this was also covered in building your brand, right? Your communication, you need to have communication guidelines. So you can say something, you can have a guideline that would be maybe the inquiries are responded to maybe within 2 hours. So you say the turnaround time for responses on social media at most is 2 hours. Lesser the better. All right, but at most is 2 hours. So if you have someone managing your social media, it's easy to hold them accountable and tell them, these are the comments that were dropped yesterday at 8 a.m. Why haven't they been responded to when clearly our communication guidelines says this and this and this? Do you understand? All right. Then the other thing is, this is the second last pillar that you need to take into consideration when you're coming up with your business growth plan is financial management. You need to understand your financials. This goes back to budgeting. That's why you had the budgeting class before the bookkeeping class, because you need to have a budget in place in regards to, these are the funds that I have, these are the funds that I need, this is how I intend to spend them. All right. Identify your financial needs. What raw materials do I need? Will I need a social media manager? That means I have to pay them salary. What suppliers am I working with? All right. Do I need to have a business premise, or can I operate as an online business? So you need to identify your financial needs and then your funding options. I would need 500,000 to expand my business, but out of this 500,000, I can only afford 200,000. Where would I get the 300,000? Do I need to get a loan from a bank? Do I need to approach investors? All right. So identify your funding options. Now, you might need to create a pitching deck for this and learn how to pitch to potential investors, right? And tomorrow's class will touch on that. So tomorrow's class will be on introduction to pitch deck. All right, you'll learn how to create your own pitch deck. You will learn how to pitch to investors. All right, so when you identify your funding options, you're also looking at how well prepared you are to approach investors. And tomorrow's class will get into this. And then obviously applying for adequate financing, right? I've already talked about this. So when you identify your funding options, you basically know, if this is the amount of money that I have, this is the amount of money that I need. I intend to approach option A, B, C for the remaining percentages, right? And the last thing is sustainability and scaling. You need to integrate sustainability into your business. When you're talking of sustainability, we're looking at, you could want to start eco-efficiency programs. Maybe you are a furniture shop, for example, and you create your furniture from, the normal wood, if it is hardwood or whatever. But now you want to shift, your products are still the same, but you want to shift into sustainability. So you could say, okay, I'm going to start creating my products now from eco-friendly materials, could be like bamboo. Do you get? So are there ways that you can integrate sustainability into your business and have eco-efficiency programs? That's basically what I'm trying to say. And then when you're talking about sustainability, you're also looking at your management infrastructure, right? So you're looking at, these are the people that I have in my business. Are they capable enough to run this business even without my involvement? I could only be overseeing, but I know I don't need to be there to run things, hands-on on my own. All right. So you're looking at your management infrastructure. That means doing their skills evaluation, making sure that they are placed in the correct positions, because you don't want to have, for example, a finance person in marketing and you expect them to perform, or a marketing person in finance and you expect your books to be well balanced. All right. So you're looking at the skills of your employees and their placements. All right. Because having the right skill set and positioning them in designations where they can effectively do their job, then that basically means the ripple effect is proper management of your business, all right? There's also the marketing programs. What are your marketing strategies? You need to have a marketing strategy. So as a business, I mean, you could have different departments. There's finance, there's operations, there's marketing. Each department has its own objectives, their departmental objectives. But now at the end of the day, they are under one umbrella of your business. So how can these objectives, so it's called interdepartmental collaborations, right? So how can these different departments with their different objectives still align to be able to achieve the overall business goal, right? It's very, very important. So then there's also strategic initiatives. This is where you're looking at, I can't be applying the same business strategies from 5 years ago right now, and I want different results. I keep saying, and I like to say, in business, there's nothing cast on stone. There is nothing cast on stone in business, and you have to be flexible. I can create my business growth plan for the next 2 years, that's until 2027. But guess what? I can sit down early 2026 and decide this is not working out for me. I need to do an overhaul of this whole strategy. There is nothing cast on stone in business, right? So you always have to be flexible. And then I think from all this explanation, you've gotten about 1 or 2 ideas about adopting the right leadership, right? Because your leaders, the leaders in your business need to have a shared vision. If you have people who don't have a shared vision, trust me, that business is not going to work out. And I can tell you for sure. Now, any questions or answers? Questions? I saw answers in the chat section, so I can't say any questions or answers. What questions do I have? What questions do I have? Impactor knows how to choose proper trainers. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you. The class is educative. I'm happy to read your comments. Oh, wow, Gwaza, are you aware that you have the Mona Lisa kind of smile? Thank you. That's very nice. I'm almost blushing because of that comment, but yeah, thank you. It's clear. So we are good, yeah? Let me see if I think I probably have a few questions in the Q&A section. Carlos, you're asking about the certificate. The certificates will be shared after the training. And just to mention, certificates are on 80% attendance. Do you understand? So after the training, the last training will be next week on Monday. Then obviously we have to go do some analysis, figure out who has qualified for certification or not, right? The final class will be next week on Monday, right? Zena is asking, for business growth, do we need a business plan? You create a business plan before you set out your business. You create a business growth plan for expanding your business. You want to expand your business. And I gave an example. A business plan could run for, you could set a plan for your business for up to 5 years. But a business plan is max 2 years. So between 12 months to 24 months, right? Thank you so much. I appreciate the comments. Thank you to my moderators. You're also doing a pretty good job responding to all the questions in the chat section. Yeah, so there's an additional class on gender equality. You know, we are all men and women on this in this class. So it's important that we get to understand gender equality so that we don't feel like, you know, girls are maybe being advocated more than men or things like that. So we'll have a gender equality class next week on Monday. Yes, I know Zoom says tomorrow, but this is information, this is new information I'm giving you, and it will be communicated in the WhatsApp group, right? Okay, so are we okay for me to move on to the next part of the class? Are we okay for me to move on to the next part of the class? Thank you. Let's move on. Awesome. Keep going. All right, awesome. Love it. Now, what do you need to include your plan? looked at the pillars for consideration when you're creating in your plan. Now, what are the actual aspects that you need to consider now when you're creating your plan? And you'll find that everything that I'm going to talk about now are things that I've already mentioned in the previous slides. There's something that you're relatable. I've talked about a description of expansion opportunities. What exactly are you looking at to expand? You could say, I want to have a subsidiary. I could probably want to open up a branch. If I'm based in this particular town, my idea of expansion would be setting up shop in a different town. Okay. And this description of expansion it's different per business. It depends on what you want to achieve. Okay. Your idea of expansion could be increasing your employees. Your idea of expansion could be increasing your products catalog. All right. So it all depends, but you need to write it down. This is my idea of expanding my business. So you need to put a clear description of expansion opportunities. And then the other one is financial goals breakdown per quarter and year. The thing with having financial goals, I can set up goals for the quarter. I want to gain $20,000 profit by the end of this particular quarter. I do not have to wait until the end of the quarter for me to sit down and look at the financials if I've been able to achieve that particular profit or not. So you break it down further into daily goals, into weekly goals, into monthly goals, because then this accumulates to the quarterly profit that you intend to achieve. All right. But at the end of the day, what I'm basically trying to say is you need to have a goal for your financials. The third thing is a marketing plan. This has been said over and over and over. I'm sure there are actually 2 classes that you went through on creating your marketing plan. You went through creating a business digital marketing plan and creating a digital marketing strategy. Do you understand? You need to have a marketing plan. I cannot go online and start selling my products on Twitter or on LinkedIn, yet when I do my research, my audience is not on those platforms. Then why am I focusing my energy marketing on LinkedIn or Twitter when most of my audience are on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook? Do you understand? I don't have to be present in all these platforms. I would rather focus my energy on platforms which will help me achieve my objectives. You have to be smart when you're creating your marketing plan, right? Then a financial plan to determine what capital is accessible during growth. I want to come up with a new product. Do I have if I'm doing manufacturing, do I have the capital to access new raw materials? Do I have the capital to manage production? Do I have the capital to manage distribution? Because I'll basically be increasing my distribution. You need to figure out what capital you have for that particular, the growth that you're intending. And then if you don't have, where do you intend to get the rest of the capital? You already just talked about this. Then you also need to have a breakdown of your company staffing needs. If I am opening shop in a different town, and even if I'm moving one staff from my current shop to the other one staff would probably not be able to run, all the operations in my new shop. So who else do I need? Do I need to have to bring in 2 more employees? But these 2 more employees, what are the skill sets that I'm looking at? I want to get a social media manager. I want to get someone good with supplies and procurement. Okay, so you need to figure out your staffing needs. I've already talked about this. I talked about this when we were looking at sustainability, right? Now, when you're writing your own business plan, you need to think ahead. You need to be very strategic. You're looking at the future. Remember, this is where you want your business to be in 2 years. So there's so many factors that you need to put into place. This is where I want to get how do I intend to get there? All right. Is it by getting new products? Is it by getting into a new market? Is it by how do I intend to basically achieve that objective? So think ahead. What probable risks will hit my business? All right. Now, when you're doing your risk identification, you could have like 10 risks that might affect your business. But now you're listing down the risks, but you are prioritizing them according to severity, the risk. So risk 1, 2, 3 would be, risks that if they hit my business, I have no chance of surviving. It doesn't matter if I have 10 risks or 15 risks or whatever. So you prioritize them according to severity. And then you sit down and ask yourself, from these top 5 risks, which ones can I prevent? Do you get? Which ones can I prevent? Then you come up with a prevention plan. You don't just say, okay, I can prevent risk 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Come up with a prevention plan. All right, this is what I'll put in place to ensure that this risk does not hit my business. And then for the ones like the ones that you can't prevent, what are my mitigation strategies? Do you understand? For businesses that, let's go back to during COVID, for businesses that had mitigation plans, there are things like natural occurrences that you can't predict and you have no control over, flooding, things like that. But if that happens, how do you intend to, still run your business? Can I operate my business as an online business, or it was just a physical shop? And if thieves come and steal everything, then that's it. Do I have stock somewhere that, I can still be selling, even if I would not be making the same amount of revenue as I did when I had my physical shop? Can I still make sales while trying to rebuild? So you always need to think ahead. Study other growth plans. You're not a know-it-all. So you need to figure out, maybe just go to your competitors. It could even be people in different industries, right? Look at businesses in different industries, study their growth plans, what can apply to your business, do you get? And then discover opportunities for growth. Now, when you're creating your business plan, now I'm talking about your business plan, you looked at your SWOT analysis. You looked at your business's strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats in the market, right? So figure out from these opportunities, which ones are you going to leverage on for your business, right? Then evaluate your team. Like I said, if you have people in the team who don't have a shared vision, there's no way you would expect that you will grow your business exponentially, basically. All right? Then find the capital. Find the capital. You want to grow in 2 years. Don't wait. When I'm coming up with my plan, I already know this is the amount I need to get to to get to point B in 2 years. Okay. I can't wait until 1 year for me to sit down again and say, you know what? I think I need an extra 250 Gs, 250,000, or I think I need an extra 200,000, right? I should have anticipated that before and figured out where to get that capital. Do you get? Then your market analysis. Know your market share. Understand your market share. Understand your customers' interests. Do they have a change in interests over time? Understand the change in market trends. You want to get market trends. There are tools that you can use to get market trends. There's the Google trend, which is free, trends.google.com. Okay, you can use such tools to be able to know what's trending in the market. So you always need to do your market analysis. Look at the changes in pricing, because look at the demand of the product or service that you're offering. Do you understand? So you always need to do constant market analysis, see what's changing in the market. Can you fit into that? Do you get? Then set key performance indicators. What will show you that you are on track to achieving your business goals or objectives? What basically shows that you're on track, right? So set key performance indicators. If my goal is to maybe increase my follower, if my goal is to increase my reach, right? I say I want to increase my reach, and visibility for my business. Then my KPI would be increased followers on my social media. Do you get? So for every objective, align your objective with a key performance indicator. Then take actions and continuously review your plan. Like I said, in business, there's nothing cast on stone. There's nothing cast on stone in business. So you need to always check on whether the strategies you've put into place are working out. If one is not working out, feel free to change at any one point. All right. I would rather you focus your energy on things that will make sense for your business. Now, when you are creating your growth strategies, when you're creating your business growth plan, there are 4 strategies that you can consider, and it's all dependent on what you want to achieve. All right. The first one is market development strategy. The first one is the market development strategy, right? Oh no. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. Just hold on. Hold on, let me try to, no. I hope you're okay. Sorry, just give me a second. I'm trying to bring my slide back up. All right. I am trying to bring my slide back up. I don't know if you can see my slide. Can you see my slide? Can you see my slide?
Yes, it's coming up. So,
All right. Okay. Right. It's clear now? It's clear now?
yes.
All right. Sorry about that. Tech issues, inevitable tech issues, but here we are. Anyway, like I said, there are 4 strategies that you need to put into consideration. The first thing you're looking at is market development strategy. All right. The market development strategy. Now, this is when you have the same product, you're offering the same product, what you already have, but into a new market. Same product, but into a new market. All right. So if I'll give an example, for example, in Kenya, I'm in Nairobi, which is the capital, but I've been focusing my sales in Nairobi, just getting clients in Nairobi, but I want to start making sales in Kisumu or Mombasa. I want to start making sales in Kisumu or Mombasa. So how do I penetrate those new markets? All right. That could be how I want to grow my business. Okay. So market development strategy is when you are offering the same products into a new market. Do you get? Then another strategy you can consider to grow your business is product development strategy. Bringing a new product into the same market. So this goes for maybe I've been selling phones. Now I want to start, I'm adding iPhones to my catalog, right? So it's a new product that I've not been initially selling, but I've brought in to my same market. It's just obviously going to change my audience a bit, but it's the same market. It's still in Nairobi. Do you understand? Then there's the market penetration strategy. You're looking at you want to increase your sales. A market penetration strategy, the goal of the market penetration strategy is to increase your sales, right? So you're looking at offering the same product into the same market. It could be things like same product, same market, but wanting to increase your sales. So you'll have things like promotions, reducing, discounted prices. You could also have things like increasing your distribution or acquiring your competitors. Do you get? And then diversification strategy, new product, new market. You're offering your new product, the iPhones, into a new market, or you're moving out of Nairobi to a different city. Have I broken that down clearly? I'll go back again. Strategies that you need to put in place to grow your business, right? You don't need to apply all of them when you're coming up with your growth plan, but you can consider. When you talk about the market development strategy, you're looking at same product, new market, all right? Same product, new market. You're offering the same product to a new market. Product development strategy, offering new products in the same market, all right? Market penetration strategy, same product, same market. Usually the goal is to increase the sales. Then diversification strategy, new product, new market. Does that make it very clear? It's still not clear, Sanusi? Do you want me to get back to explaining it again? All right, I'll say it again for the last time. Market development strategy, you're offering the same product to a new market, all right? I'm selling these cups. I'm selling Stanley cups in Nairobi. I have a shop in Nairobi. I've been focusing on getting sales for this product in Nairobi. But now I feel like I could sell this product in a different city. So market development strategy is I'm developing a new market for my same products, right? That's market development strategy. Product development strategy, I decide I am bringing in ceramic cups to this same market, new market. To this same market, new product, same market. Then market penetration strategy. These my products, I want to increase their sales. But how do I ensure that I increase my sales? Same products, same market. I will offer discounts. Buy one, get one free. All right. I will offer promotions. During October, we have this flash sale. This is usually Black Friday coming up. All right. So you want to increase your revenue from the same products and same market. Diversification strategy is assume this is another cup. New product, new market. Do you understand? New product, new market. Is that clear now? All right. Is that clear? Understood? Awesome. So those are strategies that you need to consider when you want to, grow your business, basically. Now, we have a Q&A section. I have a small test for you after this, but before we get into the test, are we together? Thank you so much to my moderators again. I have seen you responding to all the questions. I'll go to Q&A and see if... Yes, Gwaza, is the remarketing strategy a good concept for modern day business structure? Very, very much, okay? So someone might have bought from you, not even bought from you, maybe they've interacted with your content before, but they didn't make the final purchasing decision. It is okay for you to remarket to them. And the strategies that you can use for remarketing. First of all, when we were looking at the different channels of digital marketing, we talked about email marketing. And we said email marketing, if you want to do remarketing, basically you want to start with email marketing. You collected, you have information about maybe these clients who bought from you before, who maybe filled your lead forms. Maybe you ran a lead generation ad on Facebook and you got contacts, but they didn't convert. So you don't just sit with them. You can send an email and tell them. I'll give an example. Again, I don't know why I'm using the iPhone example a lot, but I'm relating, okay? So I had the iPhone 14 as the latest phone that I was selling in my catalog. Then I bring in the new iPhones. I can decide to send an email to all my clients and tell them, oh, we have a new product that we just brought in. And besides that, we're now offering also on accessories. We have customized back covers. We have Fitbit watches. You can remarket to them because you already know their interest. So whether it's very, very important that you apply remarketing strategies. right? Then Peter is asking, how can you able to implement a market plan in a small business without losing money? So you need, when you're coming up with your marketing plan, you're looking at the options that would not make you spend money. If you feel like, or if you've done your research and you've seen that you would need a website for your business, you don't have the money for getting a developer, are there strategies, are there sites that you can go to create a website? There's Wix.com, there's WordPress, there's Google sites, all right? You want visibility on Google search, but you don't think getting a website would work for you. And you leverage on things like the Google Business Profile. So you can have a marketing plan, all right? You don't know how to create flyers, but you need to post attractive content on social media. Can you do this on Canva? Do you understand? So look at the options, look at what you want to achieve, look at the options. Are there options that you can manipulate or you can leverage on, basically, that would not have any cost incurrence on you? Do you understand? All right. So the last bit before we end the class, I said we're going to have a small Q&A section just to be able to see our understanding and rate our understanding. But before that, I'll take the first 10 or 15 comments. I want the first 10 or 15 comments, just basically giving me a summary of what we've learned today. It's not for me to give you the summary. I want to see what you've learned. What have you learned? Summaries, key takeaways. What have you learned today? I can happily do it for you, but it's not about me. Now I'm looking at the client, I'm putting myself in the client's shoes. What are your key takeaways from today's class? What are your key takeaways from today's class? Have a smart business plan, have a brand identity, business growth is customer-centric, increasing sales, things aren't cast in stone and reviews should be done. Exactly. Thank you. I'm running with one key item, market penetration for my new product. Awesome. Awesome. If you're in need of a website, cryptocurrency, Joy, I see what you're doing there. Zena, I learned about business plans. Catherine, it's important to have a growth plan in place. Reasons to why you need a business growth plan. I had initially said 10 to 15 comments, but these are very good. These are very, very good comments. Thank you so much. Establish a business culture. Yes, exactly. Business growth plan. Always think ahead. Yeah, growth plan, how to write a business growth plan. This is pretty good. I'm happy to see all the comments. I am happy to see that we've been taking note. So the last bit of the class is basically a quick, this is what we've talked about. All your comments basically summarize this. We've looked at business SWOT, which is something you already went through yesterday. We've talked about creating a business growth plan, how it needs to be customer focused, why it's important to do your market analysis, and then what are the key performance indicators that basically show you that you're on track to achieving your business goals and objectives. All right. So we'll have a quick assessment. We'll have a quick assessment just to be able to know your knowledge levels in regards to what we've learned today. The first, I will decide. In fact, let me just say this now. Get my pen. I'll take 3 winners from today's class. All right. I will take 3 winners from today's class, and there'll be 3 giveaways. I'm not even going to the question yet. All right, I'll take that in the next class. So since we already have people responding to the questions now, on the next slide is where I'll pick my 2 winners now. So 1 winner will get a free website, and 1 winner will get a free digital marketing strategy. And it's all dependent on whether they get the first answer correct. Not on this slide though. So what is a business growth plan? Most of you are saying 1B, correct. Question 2, how does a business growth plan differ from a business plan? My moderators, please help me. In the next slide, you'll help me to pick my first winner, and then the last slide, my second winner. How does a business growth plan differ from a business plan? How does a business growth plan differ from a business plan? 1B, 2B. The people who have responded up to question 3, which of the following situations justifies the need for a growth plan? So question 1, the answer is B. Most of you already say that. Question 2, the answer is how does a business growth plan differ? Yes. Question 2 is also B. Question 3, which of the following situation justifies the need for a growth plan? Question 3, let me see. I know my answer is. Why are people saying C? You are not taking note of what I was saying in class. The ones who you are writing C, you didn't take note of what I was saying in class. It's recouping early losses and minimizing future risks. I talked about this on why you would need a business plan. Now, I'll move on to the next slide. So my moderators, the first person to give me the correct answer on question 4, that's my first winner. So please check who will have the correct answer on question 4. That's my first winner. And then you'll collect their full names and their email address. And then we'll email them on whether they'll get a free website or a free digital marketing strategy. I'm only getting 2 winners from today's class. So my moderators, are you ready? Christiana, Chiamaka, are you ready? Christiana and Chiamaka.
Yes, I already responded on the chat box. But many people are already giving answers. Number 4, they've not seen the question.
They've not even seen the question, they're already giving answers. Why are people saying 4B? Abdi, I've not even shared the question yet. Come on. No, not cheating. Not cheating, please. It's not cheating. Yeah, you can't see the slide because I've moved. Okay, in 1, 2, in 1, 2, 3. In 1, 2, 3. What is the first pillar of business growth? Let me see. This lady, I've seen the correct answer. Did you get it? I've seen the correct answer. 4, I've seen the correct answer. So I saw, let me see, let me go back to the first person who said for, the first person is, your responses are so many. Did you get the name, Christiana? Did you get the name, Christiana?
I'm still searching.
I know
I want to go
saw
from where I put go, right? That's at 11:23. So from 11:23 is when I start to check.
All right, you can't see the slide. I'm almost getting there, so we go from now. It's Mohammed Amidu Koroma. Mohammed Amidu Koroma. Mohammed Amidu Koroma.
What time did he send the answer? What time?
He sent it at, that was after I shared the slide. Wait.
What time? 11 what?
Oh, wait, it's not even him. It's Marcele Solomon, 123. Oh, it's 123 my time. It's 11:23 your time. It's Mesele Solomon. Yeah, sorry about that, Mohammed. Mesele Solomon. So please, Mesele, go to the Q&A section and drop your full name and your email. We'll reach out to you afterwards. Mesele Solomon. Mesele Solomon.
Yes, Mesele Solomon, 11:23.
Yeah, so you can go to the Q&A section. Please drop your full name and email, and then we will email you after. Question 5, what does knowing your market involve? What does knowing your market involve? What does knowing your market involve? Correct. The correct answer is A. Which of the following is not included in a business growth plan? Which of the following is not included in a business growth plan? Question 6, B. You're right. I mean, there's no need why you would need a list of your competitors' employees in your business growth plan. Now, in the next slide, I'm picking my last winner. Question 7. I want to see who's cheating. We are done with this slide. Question 7. Question 7. I'll pick my last winner from question 7. Why? Yeah, I've not moved my slide to question 7 yet. All right. In 1, 2, Aristide, you're disqualified. Disqualified. Mpalao, disqualified. No. So when you give your response to question 7, please, because I need to know who answered the first one correctly. You need to write there if it is 7A, 7B, 7C, 7D. All right. I will pick if you don't write 7A, I mean, if you don't add the number 7 to your response, I won't pick you. I need to be able to know who. Yeah, guys, come on, Bata. I'm not picking all of you. Just know I'm tracking. Continue writing 7D and I'm not my slide. All right. Stop, please, stop. Stop, please. Okay, now, 1, 2, please stop dropping your responses. Yeah, because they are cheating. You're cheating. You're all cheating. The last comment is said. 1, 2, 3. Let me check and see. What is the key step in writing a business growth plan? What is the key step? The answer is 7B. Let me see who wrote 7B correctly the first. Continue thinking that I know the first person who dropped the wrong answer was Mohammed. Mohammed said 7C. He was wrong. Let me go back now.
Muinatu Sanusi.
Muinatu
11:27.
All right. So Muinatu, please go to the Q&A and drop your full name and your email. Drop your full name and your email. No cheating, guys. But that is it for today. You've picked Solomon's email. Christiana, you picked Solomon's email?
No, I didn't see it.
It's in the Q&A.
Okay, I'll check it.
You picked it, Chiamaka? Muinatu, please also drop your email. If you don't drop your email in the next 1 minute, too bad. All right, question 8. I know some of us have responded to all of this. What is an example of a major growth strategy? What's an example of a major growth strategy? This is the slide where I really went 8B, yeah, market development and product development, correct. And then question 9, what does financial management for business growth involve? The answer would be B, identifying financial needs and applying for adequate financing. All right. 9B, awesome. So basically that brings us to the end of the class. I hope you all enjoyed the session. I had fun being your trainer for the day. For those who didn't get my name is Berry Lokwach. I work with Impact Hub. And I had my colleagues on the call, Christiana and Chiamaka. They did a good job in the chat section. For the winners of today's class, well done. Tomorrow's class will cover introduction to pitch deck training. So basically, how do you create your own pitch deck? How do you pitch to potential investors? And then we have the last class on Monday where we'll talk about gender equality. So please make sure you don't miss tomorrow's class and Monday's class. Like I said, certification is based on 80% attendance. So only you've been attending 80% of the classes when you'll be able to get certifications, and they will be sent before the end, or certificates will be sent before the end of October. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Enjoy your lunch for those of us who is already lunchtime, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.